Hello there and welcome back to Satisfactory. Yes, we're back on Satisfactory once again, going to be continuing our single player playthrough on 1.1. So, if you weren't here last time, we had gotten finished with the grasslands loop. Even got that little T-junction that we wanted in there that's going to be leading down to two of the Phase 4 factories down into that canyon, going underneath the massive underarch bridge that we built this week as well. So now that we have that done, we can finally move on to making factories again. So we're going to be making the AI limiter factory today. It's going to be somewhat of a tower build. I'm going to put one machine per floor. It's going to be quite a smaller style tower, but yeah, I figured it appropriate. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Let's go. Alrighty then, and here we are. So, yes, going to be figuring out what we're going to be doing today. So, yes. We're going to be putting the T-junction roughly here, I think. Or putting a T-junction roughly here. Building that up, because we're going to be building the factory over here. Now, we're going to be very, very careful about this area. Because I believe the flying manta ray flies like roughly right there. And yes, every time I talk about it, people are like, oh, there's mods to change the flight path. It's like, yep, I understand. Thank you. I'm kidding. But yes, I do know about the mods and stuff like that. But this is a vanilla playthrough. So just to remind everyone, this is a vanilla playthrough. Because it's my first time going through 1.0 since it released. And I have not been to Phase 5 yet. So, yeah. Okay, so there's the flying manta ray. So actually we got a decent amount of room right there. So it flies roughly there-ish. Let me, I might put a stick out there. Let's go some big concrete pillars, put that in zoom mode. I know we're going to lose our power, but I think it's roughly on the edge of this, right? We might have to plan that out a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, just trying to map out the flight path just a little bit. Remember, if you guys remember the Season 3 city build, we had to deal with the flying manta ray a lot. I mean, that was before those mods existed, but yeah, we had to build, or basically we had to build the city. We had to design the city around the flying manta ray as the city got larger and larger, and our buildings got taller and taller. We had to basically, there's a few sections of the city where the flying manta ray got really close to the ground. And what we did was, since we had some mods going, we actually built a few like little city parks and plazas so that on those sections. Or on those city blocks where we couldn't build at height. We couldn't even build a factory. That's how low the flying manta ray was. We couldn't even build a factory. There was even a section of the city where we had to drop it down to match up with the highway just so that the flying manta ray, because the flying manta ray went flown down after that little plaza and went down. That was a fun build. I still have that saved, by the way, which we'll be going through once we get into Phase 5 and we unlock all the achievements for getting into Phase 5, we might go back and look at the Season 3 build. Do a little bit of a tour of the city. That save is also extremely laggy. I love that my game is so laggy over here, and yet I don't even have half as much. That's just because my object limit is extremely high, so... Yeah, I've noticed that because, you know what's funny is earlier today, I went back and I went into a creative mode on a brand new save that I called Blueprints. Funnily enough, I was creating some blueprints that I could upload them on Discord and stuff like that, and some of these bridge designs and whatnot. I just wanted to do a new world where there was no lag. And yeah, sure enough, the autosave, instantaneous. You don't even notice it because there's nothing there. And yeah, putting down the blueprinter and building blueprints and all that kind of stuff. Man, my game was crisp, clean, and smooth. It was so good. It felt like, it was like, I love it. But then I come back to this world and I'm just like, and loading in. like doing a load was almost instantaneous as well. It took like 3 seconds to load in. And I know, yes, that's because there is nothing in the game. There's nothing on that save. There's so many damn factories on this world and so much going on. We have kind of mitigated it a little bit by turning off most of the sinks in the entire, on all the factories. All the factories where where the sinks don't need to be running, that was just for ticket collection, we turned them off. We went down from making roughly around 5 million tickets a minute, or 5 million points, not tickets. 5 million points per minute to making less than 500,000 because we turned it off. I think most of that came from the huge drop came from the trying to think of the name of it, the cooling systems factory, because the cooling systems factory actually makes a decent amount of cooling systems, and cooling systems, as you know, are made inside of a blender. So they got a pretty decently high point value. And yeah, we were making that with that. When I turned that off and it stopped being sunk, I watched the graph change, and we lost almost half of our points per minute when I turned that off. It was insane. So I'm just building a T-junction here. But yeah, and I'm seriously thinking about it, like doing like after this season is over, like taking a little bit of a break from doing Satisfactory videos every day, and then constructing tutorials for the game. Because then I will have already been into to phase 5, and I can offer some tricks and stuff on phase 5 as well. Yeah, and I need to redo my train tutorials. Those things are, for one, those things are very outdated, and for two, they're also very all over the place. I didn't have any scripts. Like I didn't even have bullet points written down. I just kind of went with it, and that's why it ended up being 4 videos and several hours long per video. It's like, nope, people are gonna hate this. Of course, at the time I thought, I was like, ooh, I'm doing something good. And then, yeah, now that I look at it now, and I'm just like, ugh. No one wants to sit there for 2 hours to only get partial of a tutorial for trains. I mean, I'll still split it up into multiple videos so that we can cover little bits at a time, but it definitely will not be anywhere near that long. Because, good lord. Yeah, right. Like, I didn't see the benefit of writing scripts at the time, but now I definitely see the benefit of writing scripts for videos like that. These videos that you're watching now, though, these are unscripted. Basically, I just have an idea and I just kind of roll with it. And it usually turns out pretty good, so. Oops. I'm quite happy the way this season has turned out. For the most part, it's been great. I just wish I had the better mic earlier. You know what I mean? But man, being able to afford what I have now is... it's very difficult to be able to save up that much. And it wasn't even that much. This is like cheap compared, like in the mic world. This is very cheap. It's a very cheap mic, very cheap setup essentially. Comes a little soundboard with a mic, and a couple of knobs and stuff, and a little arm that allows the mic to be held so it's not in front of you in your way, which is really nice. I told myself when I was getting a mic, when I was looking at them, I was like, I'm not getting a standing desk mic, because that thing would be in my way all the time. I think it's there? Yeah. I think it's 8. Yeah, there we go. Perfecto. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of... I guess I am kind of giving it a little bit of a a tutorial on how to make this T-junction. And it's working. Like I said, I've now built enough of these that I know exactly what I'm doing. So. Okay. Yeah, let me finish this up, and then we'll get working on the platform over here. As well as I'll keep an eye out for the flying manta ray when it flies by, and I'll see how close that mark is as well while I'm building this. Alrighty, and there is our T-junction that we've got built here. Now, I'm going to alter this a little bit. I have come up with a plan, and it is an amazing plan. A plan for 2 different factories I have discovered. That we're going to be using 2 different alternate. Well, one's not going to be an alternate, but one is. Because I was thinking about putting another junction for another factory along here, because this is a nice flat spot. I was like, well, what if we put a junction there, and then we pull off for a factory here, and whatnot, just to kind of make things work. And then I started thinking about it, and I was just like, well, instead of doing that, because that's too many junctions right in a row. That can be chained together by a single train. It's like that's kind of too many junctions right in a row. That could definitely cause some backups. So I was like, okay, well, how do we eliminate that junction right here for another factory that is going to be right here? And I was just like, thinking about it, and I was like, why don't we just pull off of this junction? This junction's already here. It's roughly between that junction and that junction. It's not exact. Sitting right here, it's not exact, but it is close enough. I was like, why don't we just pull off of that? And then what we'll do is we'll build a factory on this side of the junction and a factory on this side of the junction. I was like, well, that's perfect. That is perfect, especially since we're in 1.1 and we can build junctions back to back. I'm definitely going to be putting another T-junction here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these. And I was just like, this would be perfect. This would be perfect for what we want to do. And we'll be able to knock out 2 factories essentially at the same time. Not at the same time. Obviously, we're going to build one then the other. But and then I was like, okay, well, what kind of design? Oh, that did not work. I was like, okay, what kind of designs do we want and stuff like that? And I came up with one design. I was like, what if? And this is a big what if, but what if, I think it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. Okay. And I was like, what if we took somewhat of an inspiration from what we're building. One's going to be an AI limiter. One's going to be electromagnetic control rod. We'll take inspiration from it. We won't make copies like we have in the past, but we will make inspiration builds. So basically, one's going to be a tall kind of cylindrical, or not cylindrical, but one's going to be a tall kind of flat tower or flat building, kind of like what you'd see, offices and stuff like that. A lot of their builds are going to be almost kind of like that hotel, roughly. Like it's a long building that's skinny. Now, the way I'm going to do this is the train stations are going to be in the building, but the actual factory is going to be in its own shape sort of building. It's going to be interesting. So, and then the other factory for electromagnetic control rods is going to be a cylindrical tall tower that will be able to put machines in and stuff like that on top of course the block where the train stations go. And then that'll be our 2 factories for this particular thing, because I mean, look how close we are. We can fit a train station on this side, and this one's going to be a little bit more difficult because of the landscape, how it slopes down. But we'll be able to, as long as we don't go out, or as long as we don't go too far out, we'll still be able to make this into a 4-way junction. That'll be very interesting to make that. It's going to be a tight 4-way junction, tight on this side of it. And then that'll be the, if that ends up being a 4-way junction, that is. But yeah, going off of this is definitely going to work out quite well. I guess the only problem I never thought of was I needed to yeah, we're gonna have to delete some of this that I've already built and then delete some of this as well. But yeah, let me get this weird kind of double T junction going, and then we can definitely work on that. And you know, I guess if we really need another factory, we could turn this into a 4-way and put a factory over here as well. But I want to try to stick to the inside of the grasslands loop, just particularly for this. So, oh, autosave. There we go. We just got to delete some stuff, place some stuff, basically a copy of this over here, which is going to take me a minute to build. But yeah, once we get that built, then we can start planning out the platforms and stuff like that. And I guess we can kind of design each factory at the same time. I mean, obviously not at the same time, but here's the alternate we're going to be using. Because I don't want to use AI limiters from control rods, because these factories are going to be too close. And for 2, I'm going to use those AI limiters for the crystal oscillator recipe. So the crystal oscillator recipe that I'm going to be using is the insulated one, because I don't have any more cable really to be using for our factory. So we're going to be using rubber. So we're going to be using that as an alternate. And then the control rods, the electromagnetic control rods, we're going to be using this one, which is the electromagnetic connection rod, because we're actually making a decent amount of high-speed connectors. I'm going to be using half of them for this particular build. We'll see how many rods we need to make. This makes 8 per minute. So we're definitely going to be making twice the amount with even less stators. And if we look at our map here, the way I've got my map marker set up is I can go all the way to the top of the map and I can scroll in, look at the stator factory. Stator factory, it's summer slooped, and we're only using 150 out of the 300. As well as I still do need to revise this factory because I don't think that number is correct. It's like, that's okay. But yeah, we'll definitely have to wait for Mark 6 in order for the quickwire to be fully used. But because the AI limiter, one we're going to be using, is definitely going to be the plastic one. Or not the plastic one, sorry, the regular one. This is going to be the regular one so that we can use up our copper sheets, because our copper sheet factory is right here. No, right here. Copper sheet factory is right here. We're only using 300 out of the total 1,500 we could be using. So we definitely need to find more uses for those copper sheets. So I'm going to be using the regular limiter. Yes, it uses more wire, or more quick wire, but it's one of those things. So anyway, yeah, like I said, let me get this finished, and then we'll work on those 2 platforms. I think it'll be really good. Alrighty, so I decided to change the plan once again. We're going to change the plan once again. We're not going to do another T-junction on the end of this. I already built it, and then I decided to change my mind, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to see it. That's just what I decided to do. But yeah, so you change the blueprint change the plan ever so slightly. Because I did have the T-junction up here, but here's my problem, right? This side is just fine because it's roughly the same height all the way across. We can build a decent platform there. This side, however, is a little bit high. Now, would we probably been fine? Probably. After the T-junction, we probably would have been fine all the way to the end there, but it would have been, the platform for it would have been extremely high off the ground, which I wasn't a fan of. So what I've done instead is I built it and then I completely destroyed it, just wrecked it and just built this instead. This is a 2-meter drop. So we dropped down to 2 meters. Now we're just above this rock here. I don't see any other hazards that are, part of the landscape, so I think we're good. This rock is going to be just fine here. So what we're going to do is if you guys remember the heatsink factory, the factory where my mic quit working right at the end. Yeah, my mic just completely broke, my old one. we're going to do something similar there. So the way we did that factory is we had two sides to the factory. We had train stations on one side, train stations on the other. The train stations for the output was on one side, and the train stations bringing stuff in was on the other side. We're going to do something like that, but this is going to be two different factories, of course. So on this side, obviously, we're going to do AI limiters, and on this side is going to be our electromagnetic control rods. So we've dropped it down so that we can be, you know, we'll still be above the ground in decent ways, but not too crazily high. And I'm going to be building out of the, I haven't used the grip metal very much as a foundation base, so we're going to be using that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have our T-junction down here. So just like this, T-junction. And whichever way the factory goes specifically, but yeah, so our T-junction is down here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just like that. And this will be the main junction. And actually, this is much better for traffic flow because what we can do is we can go down here. Hold on, up here we'll put in our pass signal and then block signal. And then what I'm going to do is down here, I'm going to put in 2 more blocks, or this is going to be another path signal and another block signal here, because this is going to be an intersection. But what this does is it doesn't allow the trains that are coming out of the factories to immediately reserve the intersection. They have to get into this section first. And if they're going to wait, they're going to wait on this little slope right here. Now it is a little bit dangerous because it is a 2 meter. I might end up not doing that. Well, no, they can reserve. If we do it this way, then they can reserve both. They can reserve this intersection and this intersection at the same time, actually. That might be better. Yeah, I have to separate it, though, so that if they're going through... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think this will be okay, though. I think it'll be all right. If this is not clear, they're not going to go through anyway, unless they can reserve both. If they ever have to wait, it'll be very rare. But plan is to put both factories on either side of this junction. And, you know, we're much further down, so it's not as crazy, we'll say. Okay, and then from here we can build out our factory on each side. And I think, yeah, we're going to be working on these two factories a little bit simultaneously. Somewhat simultaneously, I should say. But they're basically going to mimic each other as far as the train stations go. The train station layout is going to mimic each other, obviously, just for obvious reasons, but yeah. Is this rock too much of a problem? I'm wondering something. That rock is not too much of an issue. I could probably cover that up. I'm just wondering. Okay, so the way this is going to work, or the way I want it to work, is to have... How do I want to lay this out? Okay, I know. Remove all this. Get this out of here. Get this out of here. There we go. I want to lay it out like that, actually. Come on, place. Yeah, before the autosave. Let's beat the autosave. Nope. Although it still makes the noise. The noblest. Okay, looks like we're going to go off platform a little bit, but that's what I was trying to avoid, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Okay, so then from here we go 5. As per usual, because we need 3 train stations to make this work. 3 train stations. Ooh. We only need 3 train stations. I wonder if making it longer would be a thing. Basically, put the train station in the middle. Or no, have the train station off the middle, but have all 3 trains. No. No. Just that's not going to work that way. It's not going to work the way I want it to. No, because I still have to have the loop. This is just wider, essentially, than longer. Okay, so from there... Yeah, I think we can cover this up, definitely. And I have actually kind of changed my mind as well about the whole tower thing. We'll have twin factories, or not twin factories, but we'll have 2 factories like that. We'll just have to see what happens. Ooh, I'm getting close to his, or the flight path. Like I said, as long as I don't go beyond the stick, I should be fine out of power. Power, power! There we go. Yeah, actually that rock is not a bother. What the heck is right here? Oh, it was a tree. I was gonna say, whatever's there, no longer there now. Yeah, essentially, like I said, I'm just gonna mimic the platforms here to also to this side as well. I know we'll be covering over a few nodes, probably like that one. I don't really care for limestone. There's limestone everywhere. It is not a bother. Okay, but then we'll get the train station laid out. I can't remember if it was 3. No, it was definitely more than that. It was like 5. Actually, I can find out. What am I doing? So we need to be on this foundation here. Oh, that's right. I can't exactly do that. Well, maybe I can. I haven't tried yet. Let me give that a go. Oh, it will work. All right. Hey, as long as it works, I don't mind. I forgot that when you got the S-bend, it takes up an extra, like, little chunk. Yeah, and since it's going to let me place it like that, then I'm more than happy to. I do got to rotate it to square it up with the foundation, but... Okay. Now we can do this. And go boop. And then that's where we can start our train stations. Ooh, yeah. I'm looking at this going, yeah, we're definitely not going to have that as an intersection. That's just not going to work. Yeah, definitely not. Unless it was 2 train stations or 3 train stations wide. We could go wider. That would also work. This is how long it is. With the 3 train stations in that style. How are we gonna make this work? Okay, let's count it out. So it's gonna be 24 foundations, right? There's 10. There's 20. Yeah. Oof. I knew we were gonna, and that's just for the train station. That's not including the extra. We could go wider. You know what? I might go wider. I might do a triple length train station here. Just mainly because of the space constraint I have here on this side. But I do need 2 train stations, 2 bringing in, 1 exporting. And then if we can, yeah, I think we're going to run into issues on this side too. For space constraints, we're going to go wider, which can absolutely happen. Because the factory is going to be above anyway. And I do plan on turning that over there. I do plan on turning that into a 4-way eventually. So I don't want to cut myself off from that. And I know people are going, you know, why do you have to do such a long train station? You know, why don't you do shorter trains, or why don't you just do belts instead, or drones, or you have drones unlocked, do drones. Well, I tried to put it in the description. I think it ended up being too long, I think is what happened. But I do have a set of challenges on this particular playthrough. So yeah, we do have some challenges on this particular playthrough, which is unavoidable for this particular thing. Let's see. If I put it like that, it'll do the same, won't it? No, it won't. It won't do the same. Okay, well, if we're going to do that, then we might as well do the whole rest of the shebang then. Yeah, let me rearrange this to what it needs to be to make this work properly, and then, yeah, I'll duplicate it on this side as well, so then we'll get our train set up. Alrighty then, so we finally got the 2 train stations in place. So had a little bit of an unfortunate thing happen. Unfortunately, I have hit a rock. I found a rock hidden in the trees here. I figured I'd be able to avoid it, but figured I'd see. You can see this rock just fine, but I hit this rock here. This rock, unfortunately, is a bit too much of a pain in my butt. So there we go. It's just the way it is. I am gonna leave this here. That this rock is part of this factory now. It's not escaping. So I did have to offset the other factory. I mean, it matches this one. It's just if you take this factory and you rotate it 90 degrees and put it over here, that is what we've got. But yeah, looks pretty good. I still need to do that specifically. Need to put in some signals, of course. Of course. And I'm going to put this here. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that the train can reserve this intersection and then go all the way to here before it stops and waits if there's a train in this station here. So we'll do that. I think that'll just work better than having it like it would have to wait. If I didn't do that, the train would have to wait until this entire train station is clear before it can start moving. So there'll be less of a chance of it waiting too long if I do it this way. That's just how that's gonna work. Oh yeah, look, station 169, nice. Of course. We have to mention it every time that number comes up. We have to mention it. That's how it goes. And if you don't know what 69 represents, well, we're not going to say what it represents. You'll just have to go on wondering, and don't go looking for it. If you're under the age of 18, I should say. Don't go looking for it. Okay. So we got that one, and we'll do the same on this side. There we are. So now that we've got the train stations in place, now we can work on the actual factories themselves as well. So this factory is the AI limiters, and we had decided that we're going to do... let's actually name this train station. So AI limiter factory. Export, if I could spell it. We're going to do EXP for this one. We'll just EXXP. There we go. Sorry, I'm looking down at my keyboard. Oh wait, we don't put that in there. Control C that. Then we can go over to this train station. Control V. And then we're going to type in imp, of course, quick wire. No, I hit Control V. Damn it. What the heck? Alright, Control C, damn it. There it goes. Hit enter to confirm. Now I'm trying to build belts, and this is going to be the plastic. No, sorry. Copper sheets. That's right. Because we're going to be using the copper sheets for this. Because we're going to be using the normal recipe, because we need to use our copper sheets, damn it. Alright. Copper sheets import. You know, it might come a time where I just swap over the circuit board factory to using copper sheets rather than quick wire. I just did quick wire because I was trying to save on space. Because of how many circuit boards I needed. If it comes down to it, we will make that happen. Okay. That way we can use up those copper sheets, because that's what they were originally built for anyway. But alrighty. The copper sheets, I believe, are just this. If I remember correctly. It's just the copper finish. I'm not 100% sure. I know the quick wire is the gold finish, of course, because it's Caterium. It's quick wire. Okay, and then AI limiters are black mainly. But I can't do like black and yellow because I've already got that. We could do black and blue, I suppose. But not purple and blue, but black and blue. There we go. That's also the same color as coal, isn't it? Or is coal just pure black? I hope coal is pure black. Okay, but AI limiters are black, so that's the way we're gonna paint them. Okay, and then we're gonna start putting in our trains. So first things first, let's get this quick wire train going. So we're getting close to the end of our episode, so if we can have the trains bringing in what we need, then we can absolutely, while the trains are filling up the train stations, because how many trips are going to have to take and whatnot across the map, then we can use that time to fill up we can use that time to build the rest of the factory on each side. So I think it's pretty good. All right, now I believe this is Quickwire Train 3. Quickwire Train 3. Okay. First things first, let me go to the map. Okay, I did spell it that way. All right. So yeah, quickwire train 3. And you're going to go, let's type in quickwire factory export, and then AI limiter quickwire factory import, or AI limiter factory quickwire import. Save changes, turn on self-driving, hop out, use our F key so that we can avoid the bug. Alrighty. And we can't forget to set all of these to unload, so that when it gets back here, it can just unload. And like I said, all the other factories are turned off. Well, all the other factories are full, let's say. All the other factories are full and the sinks have been turned off. So we should get a full train of quickwire when it comes back. But yeah, I know we're definitely going to be using more quickwire than we're making right now until we get to Mark 6 belts, and then we'll be fine. Alrighty. So then, yeah, I just got to get this train set up for the copper sheets, and then, yeah, then that'll be the end of the episode, I think. Alrighty then. Finally got that all finished up, got all the trains going, bringing in the material. Of course, this one, the train station must be completely full. Also, that quickwire train, I don't know which way it came from before, but at least it's taking the other side. Sorry, a little bit of a hiccup there. But yeah, at least it's taking the other side of the grasslands loop, so at least some of that rail is going to be used. Yeah, it's all full. But yeah, we've got all the other trains going out and picking up material to head over to this factory, including this one as well. So yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to somewhat simultaneously build these two factories together, because they both use assemblers and they both use three trains. They're both using the same footprint. We're just going to do different building designs on top of the train stations themselves is the only thing that's going to be different. And then we got the high-speed connector train bringing in our high-speed connectors, which that's going to turn on that factory, which is going to turn on that factory, which is going to turn on silica and I don't remember the other one. Quickwire, that's it. Okay. Yeah, which is also going to turn on the quickwire factory. So quickwire is now running in full force for a little while. But that's okay. Yeah, we're going to have to wait for those high-speed connectors to be made, because that factory only makes 24 per minute. So, ooh, what's this train? What do we got coming in? It looks like the Stater train is on its way. It looks aluminum. It looks like it's the color of aluminum, which is what I painted the train station as. So the aluminum train is coming down to Vedavitines. And off she goes, coming into the intersection. I decided to put pass signals all the way through here, so yeah. But now that we've got all of this built and all of this placed, I do believe that is pretty much going to be it for this episode of Satisfactory. So next time, obviously, we're going to get started on both these factories. We're going to build up both stations. I'm going to try to make this look like all one building, and then we'll have the two towers up, like it'll all be connected into one building, but we'll have it all up on we'll have a little tower for this one and a little building for that one, a little building for this one on top of the two train stations. So in the train stations, the way this is, it looks like the flying manta ray is avoiding them. I know that's not what's actually happening. It's just its flight path just happened to work perfectly with that. And then we've got copper sheets coming in. So copper sheets, quickwire, and stators are all being brought in from that side of the grasslands loop. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to have happen, which is amazing. Alrighty. Well, like I said, though, with that, that is going to be it. So I do hope you enjoyed. Oh, and before you go, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see on your screen right now. Seriously, Thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.